Okay, let's play with some of the built-in animation features. What we're going to do is we're going to look at the composition that is embedded in our project file. And if you remember, we took that composition and we used it to establish our new composition called BGW with text 2. And then we changed the duration of it. So there it is down there. It's background with text. It's buried down there. So what we're going to do is we're going to double click on it. And what it's going to do is it's going to open up that nested composition, if you will, on our timeline. So there's our master composition, like the one that we've been working on building all our effects. And here's our nested composition. It basically exists with just those two layers of that Photoshop file. So what we want to do is we want to edit one of these files, and then we want to also put some animation on it. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to click on that layer to activate that layer that we want to edit, because right now it's a placeholder. It says title here. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go up to layer in the main menu there. And what we want to do is we want to basically make that available for editing. Now, they do move stuff around in these programs quite a bit. So sometimes you do have to kind of go through here and check to see where they've buried some of this stuff. There it is right there under create. Now it's convert to editable text. So it's just an Adobe thing. Basically what this is going to do now is it's going to allow us to go in here now and replace that text, because that's just a placeholder right now. Now, of course, you know, every program has it, the big T, the horizontal type tool. So when we click on that, you can see it opens up in the palettes over here, and we can now make changes to that text with any kind of font we want. We'll just use the existing font here, and what we'll do is we'll basically click, drag to highlight that text, and what we'll do is we'll just type in something else, and we'll just type in cool, right? Just something like that. And then we'll click back down on the layer, and you can see it updated that layer. And because it updated it in the nested composition, if you click over to the master composition, see it updates it there too, right? So that's how easy it is when you're working with compositions to go in and make those changes. Now, let's animate this. And again, what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to go, because it when we hit the horizontal type tool, it went to character. What we're going to have to do is click on that double arrow and change it back to effects and presets. And now what we're going to do is we're going to get rid of that radial blur effect. And we're going to look for an effect. And we'll just type in bubble. And under there, they're going to see a bunch of them. And we're going to go to the one that's a transition movement called zoom bubble. And what we're going to do basically is we're going to take it and we're going to click on it. And we're going to drag it and drop it right onto that layer. And, you know, you're going to go, whoa, it disappeared, right? One of the key things is when you're doing these kinds of effects, you want to make sure your playhead is, you know, where you want that effect to start, right? So now you can see how when I drag the playhead, that effect came on. And the cool thing about it is you can see the effects get applied here. And also, if you expand those layers, and remember how we looked at transform, you can see how in here, you can see the effect is there. This is going to be important down the road because we're going to customize these effects. But for today, we're just going to just use it as it exists there. Now, again, because it exists in here, of course, when we go to the main composition, yeah, it exists there too, okay? Now, again, what we have to make sure we do is scrub the timeline far enough so we can actually see it kick in, right? And then you can see it stays there for a while, and then it, disappears. It drops out. So yeah, I mean that's basically, how you can, animate certain things, and you can play around with stuff. Now, again, like, to customize this stuff, basically we go in here, I go into that effect, and I go into those various properties, zoom bubble. And this is here where I can start kind of playing around with some of the presets in here. So there's a setting for transition completion that if you play around with it, so you can see it's right there, and you can see there's actually a couple of keyframes there, okay? And what we can do is we can actually take our playhead and scrub it between there, and you can see how that keyframe, it goes up to 100% at that point, and then it basically stops. So you can basically kind of customize these things to make that go shorter or longer. So for example, I mean, you got to remember we only set like a 1 second and 15 frame duration. So if I take that playhead and drag it to 1, and then I take that keyframe and drag it to there, it basically speeds up that transition. So when I play it back, it's going to go a lot faster. So when I hit play, see, bang, see how it goes a lot faster. And now again, because I made those changes there, I play back the original, and there it is there. So it comes up a lot faster. It doesn't get cut off like it did in the first one. So yeah, I mean, there's all kinds of really cool things that you can play around with in here. And the more you kind of play around with this stuff, the more comfortable you'll get using this program. Of course, we've made massive changes, so as I said, it's always a good idea to do a manual save, even though if you notice that I actually did an autosave. And again, notice what I'm doing is I'm changing those versions, so that way I'll have a multitude of different versions that I can go back and, if I get into trouble. And again, I'm just going to minimize this screen to basically give you an idea. I'll just minimize it. Sorry, that was in Splashtop. But here's my master folder, and you can see that I've got an autosave vault that's been saving for me, and then I've got all my manual saves. And again, all this kind of is going to help me, back up my projects properly. So I'll go ahead and now I'll play this back, and yeah, so you can see what we got after we've just played around with things and made some various changes to the elements. And really, this is just kind of, getting used to the interface and getting used to some of the cool things you can do. Next week, we'll pick up on this and push our knowledge a little further. Have fun.